This is the... Oh, is it Khalil? Hey, speak of the devil, there he be.
Hmm.
He's
Doesn't
not
seem like he's
talking.
talking.
Hey,
What'd you say?
Hey, I kind of gave up after all of you said that I never talked to you guys, even though I totally did for weeks. No, I didn't say it specifically like that. I kept asking if Wednesday was good for you guys. 9 o'clock was just when I was okay.
Oh, damn. Wait. 8:30 a.m.
Like in the
Are you
morning.
serious? Dude, it's only... Oh, never mind. I thought it was 9 o'clock for some reason. That's why I was confused. Yeah, time flies.
When you're doing chemical engineering.
Yeah, time flies when you're dying slowly.
Hey, Joe, what major is Sophia in?
Sophia?
Matt. You remember Matt?
Who? Who's that? Matt?
She lives at Pierpont. We went rock wall climbing with her several times. No, I don't. That doesn't make any sense.
She's biomed.
That's what I thought. I've asked her so many times. I feel bad asking more.
Yeah, it's biomed.
I always think that she's
Here.
what's the engineering? Yeah, it's biomedical engineering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
biomed.
Wait. So
Alright, here.
is she in that
Join my fire
engineering
team.
or is she
No, I'm in chemical. Although chemical just merged with the biochemical department, but we are not the same major.
Huh.
So like, what that means is that the teachers are distributed throughout both biomedical and chemical.
Mm-hmm.
So like my old CHE teacher is now the biomed's thermodynamics teacher.
Interesting.
So the merge in that sense, but we're still separate majors.
I just switched into E-Quad.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, actually. I'm glad that they've been updating that game so much. Like, it's really added new dynamics to the whole thing. Like, the fucking care packages, once those came in, all bets were off. You know, like, shit, shit was fucking scary at those things.
I'd pull a camera and be like, "Yo, what's up? My name's UCT Rob Tier," but I mean, you would just edit it out anyway, so.
Well, don't. That's
the
not.
point?
This isn't that kind of stream right now.
Oh.
Right.
So Joe, you were gonna ask me a question before I started streaming. What was it?
What was
But
the
doesn't
question?
feel comfortable answering that question.
It was about if the DLCs were like super good.
What are you talking
For which
about?
game?
Joe, we were talking about Destiny at the future, you fucking asshole. And then I started
Destiny
streaming.
1?
Wait, Kyle, are you coming on Destiny?
I come on everything I get my hands on.
Wow, dude, you're so cool.
I know.
What about
If only being
Kyle?
cool would fill the void in my heart.
Is he getting on?
You ask. Why don't you ask?
Wait, did I just say Kyle again? I meant Cameron. Everything has gone silent.
Alex is the bestest.
Everything has gone silent.
Sorry,
I hear nothing
my
anymore.
controller died.
Ah,
And you said Cameron?
Joe,
yes.
there, can you hear now, you fucking punk ass motherfucker?
Why is it my fault that you muted your mic?
I didn't mute my mic.
So then why was there
I
a
heard
long
Whitney.
pause?
Yeah,
You did?
Kyle heard Whitney. You fucking retard.
I didn't hear. I'm over here.
I didn't hear what Whitney said because my controller died.
Anyways, Joe,
But
By her
so you
Whitney.
asked me, like, if the DLCs for Destiny 2 are, like, the best things ever, and you were going to finish that.
okay.
And I
Okay.
because I started my stream.
Okay, so people have complaints, right? People have
Mhm.
complaints, blah blah blah, you know, PC Master Race, everything else about Destiny 2.
I'd love for you to be,
And-
like, a PR person for a company later in life. People are complaining,
So-
doesn't matter, fuck them.
Doesn't matter.
Fuck 'em.
We have our rules, you know. So like, what was I saying? Damn, you distracted me. Well now, what am I supposed to do now? Everything's just
I
gone.
don't know. Follow your
Do I
train
just
of
start
thought
over?
that you had before.
Let's log out of Destiny, come back in.
No,
Start
don't
over.
start
You gotta-
over
you gotta
Destiny.
do a
You have to
full
start over
reset.
your entire life. You
We
have
gotta
to go back
start
into
over,
your mother.
boys.
Actually, you have to get conceived again. Come out of your mother as a baby. And go through your entire life up till now. You
What
have to
the
live 2 lifetimes.
I don't think I can have a stream that long.
You don't know that.
Jew
till you
Bears
try.
here. Oh, and Cameron, are you getting on? You're sitting on my hand.
You're sitting on my hand.
I told her to leave.
Whoa.
She's fucking dumb.
Ooh. Damn.
Are you serious? Why?
Told her.
Well, that was your mistake on getting a PlayStation 4.
So
Oh.
yeah, Joe,
I
like if
never
you're
touched
saying like
anything.
if the DLCs are amazing and all that kind of stuff, do the complaints about the game right as it stands right now go away?
Well, it's like if the DLCs are good, and then people are saying, "Well, no, now Destiny 2 is a great game. Like now it's everything I've ever wanted."
What?
Then do people make the connection and they say, "Hey, they did this on purpose." Essentially, they make the connection and then they say, "Hey, Destiny are just money grubbing scoundrels out for whatever," you know.
So you're
then-
saying that
then
the
after
original?
that-
No, okay. I'll let you finish.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna let
then
you finish.
after they make that, you know, discovery or whatever, do they then just have the same opinion again, like from the beginning? Like what changes afterwards? Like it seems like either way, even if the DLCs are shit or they're good, people are just gonna come to the same conclusions. That, you know, Destiny's just money grubbing scoundrels or whatever.
I am so confused
So
about what
does-
your point is here.
So like my point is like there's no reason to complain about the game or the DLC because like the company is what the company is, and it's a company which they need to make money. So everything is around money. So if you go into it thinking that the company is trying to give you an experience that is worth your dollar, then you're doing it wrong. But if you go in thinking, hey, this is a company that needs to make money, so they're gonna create a system. They're gonna create an equation, you know, in which they make the most amount of money, and whether that being, you know, playing to the plebeians or the grinders, I don't know. Like they've had people think this out, obviously, or else they wouldn't have decided these things.
I completely disagree with that theory.
Really?
Because we are paying for them to give us the experience that they create.
I mean,
If they
it's
don't
their
create
job
a good
to deliver a
experience
quality
and-
product. It's their job
Like,
to
if
deliver a
we're-
quality
Yes.
product.
Ah, that is a great
So, like,
point.
So, like,
now
I'm
we go.
just sitting here feeling that, oh, they're just shelling out game after game just so that way they can get my money, which, they are. It still hasn't been apparent that, they've actually improved. They've just tweaked one thing here, another thing here, threw it out. Hey, here's a new game. There's a 30-minute story you could beat in 30 minutes if you just played for 30 minutes and did nothing else. But so in order to keep you from beating the story in 30 minutes, we'll add side quests in there. And those will take hours to complete because you gotta depend on RNGs.
But you never had to do the side quests.
No, but the Oryx expansion, the Tanking King expansion, one of the side missions.
Okay. Pause. I
One of
never
the side
played
missions.
the Taken King, so please explain.
Okay, so in the Taken King, one of the side missions is to get a sword. Literally, one of the hardest things to do because one of the things is you have to kill, I think, 10 players with a sword in PvP.
Yeah.
So you've got to run around with your sword out 24/7.
Yeah, sword out.
The sword counts as like a fist. So you got to punch someone twice and hope you
okay.
kill him first. So on top of that, actually no, I think Crux of Crota is probably harder. Because that was real RNGs. You just had to do the whole fucking raid and hope that they dropped it.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that part for sure.
But it's just like, what they promised back in Destiny 1 versus what came out and has been continuing in a trend because the game's out. You can't change a majority part of the game unless you really wanted to and revamp the whole thing. Like Call of Duty with the whole futuristic thing. Before it was just, here's back in World War II and now here's the modern warfare. Well, then they went to the advanced warfare with all the jumping. That was controversial, completely new. I hated it. Other people loved it. It was a revamp of their game. And then they went back to World War II because that's what people wanted. But unfortunately with Destiny, like with Call of Duty, what they tell you what they're doing and what you get is 90% compatible with what they promised with Destiny. And I know all the shit that went down before you even say anything, Erwin. I know all the shit that went down. Activision butt fucked them, rushed them, all that stuff. It's lacking a sense of depth. Like, in Destiny 2, they kind of fixed it, but they didn't really. Like, there was no sense of, impending doom. Like, oh, they're gonna take the Traveler, but there's no depth to it to create that feeling of impending doom. All they did was to try and add more depth, was throw in more cutscenes. While the cutscenes were very well done,
I'd like to comment on
it doesn't
that part
add
at
depth.
least. Well, you have to think about it for that specific example about having what was the word you used? It was about the cutscenes. It's lacking what?
The cutscenes lack a sense of impending doom. Like, you have to do something now. Right.
So, you also have to think about this is also a game in which the person making the game has said, hey, you're going to complete this. You can't, the problem is, you change what this game is fundamentally if you do that. You change it to more of a Mass Effect game if you do that, where the choices you make affect the outcome of your game.
Just us down here.
So, right now, the outcome of the game is always the same, but that's just based on the type of game that you signed up for. If you signed up for an MMO type game, then hey, the endings don't change based on my actions. I'll go through a storyline, I'll grind for gear, and that's what will happen. But if you play a Mass Effect type game, then hey, these actions that I'm doing will affect my future and will affect the rest of the game in front of me. So people have no reason to feel that impending doom because there is no impending doom. There can't be. That would change the type of game that it is. It wouldn't be an MMO anymore. It would be a whatever it's called, an RPG or a
MMORPG.
yeah. Well, no, like whatever Mass
Well,
Effect is.
that's what it was supposed to be. Destiny was supposed
no,
to be
like-
an MMORPG.
But well, okay. Fundamentally, it is an MMORPG. I'm just saying whatever game Mass Effect is, where your choices affect the outcome, like whatever that
I think it's just
formula
role-playing
is,
game.
it's like a specific thing.
Oh, that's
though.
RPG.
Like
Uh,
yeah. Like I'm saying, whatever that is, that's what defines depth. Like that's what defines replayability, you know? And in these kind of games, you replace replayability with grinding, essentially. So like you play more and hope to get a different outcome, you know?
well,
A different outcome
see,
being, a drop that you're looking for, you know?
well, so like in Destiny 1, you had that. Like, oh, if I go through on this character, I'm gonna get a really good drop on this weapon you can only get by completing the game.
Yeah.
But in Destiny 2, fuck that. All the guns are the same. I don't care. I find that to be kind of a level where like someone who is using the same exact gun as me can't have different stats on it. I completely appreciate that part. I know Alex doesn't like that part. But with what Destiny 1 was supposed to be, which is why there are 3 characters, you're supposed to be able to have different outcomes. The fact that there are 3 characters still shows that.
So you're saying like
you know,
the
maybe
Hunter
they wanna go
story
back
should have
to
been
it.
different from the Titan story and the
Correct. That's what they were supposed to be, but that it never happened because Activision rushed Bungie.
Okay, so it happened to a certain degree, if you think about it.
It was going to happen. It never
with
happened.
like those shards of light thing, where you had to like unlock your subclasses.
That was the time. Like different the story that you heard. Other than that, it was completely similar.
but
like the
it's-
place you went to was the same. The people you fought was the same. In
yeah, but
its
if you think
core,
about
it
it,
was all
it's
the same.
it's touching on that fundamental aspect of what you're talking about. Where
Right, it's a
in
good
Destiny
start,
1 there
but
was
they're not
nothing
there.
different, you know. Well, I mean, good starts are what lead to better endings, you know. So
Right,
I
but what
wouldn't
they
be mad
took
about
here
a
was
good
a
start,
baby
you know?
step. They need to take a
Well,
bound back to
what's
where they
better,
were trying to
no
get
baby steps or a single baby step, you know? Would you rather them not taking any baby steps?
to. No. Because
So
baby
then
steps
there's your answer,
are
you
what
know?
lead to progress. But
Yeah.
so like it was one nice thing I do like about Destiny 2 that they didn't do in Destiny was they did a teaser for the next expansion, which was the Osiris expansion. Those pyramids are the
Yeah.
pyramids of Osiris. It was a nice little
Right.
nod to, hey, this is what you can expect. Whereas in Destiny 1, it was just, hey, this is what we're coming out with. Like, if you didn't keep up with Bungie at all, you just, all right, which expansion are they coming out with? Well, I bought the season pass and it says this. Like,
Right.
you bought the season pass and it tells you which one's coming out next. But no, like, the story just ended with the strangers leaving. That was it.
Right.
And this one, you know, you complete the whole story, you defeat Gaul, the Traveler does the whole energy burst thing that sends a ripple of energy throughout the space, and Osiris gets the signal, he's like, alright, I'm gonna come fuck up some bitches.
Mm-hmm. Also, is Alex still streaming this? He left. He left the game.
Yeah, because I think he's AFK, but he is still streaming.
Yeah.
I guess he's just
Oh,
streaming
okay.
our rant now.
Oh, okay.
He's
I see
streaming
how
our
it
rant
is.
while in orbit.
He's sucking our content without having to put any effort in himself. What a
Son of a bitch.
what a sneaky guy.
But
We should claim some money for this incredible rant. that I'm sure every single
That's
other
right.
person has had.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's just that, can't promise that my issue with Destiny 2 is you can't promise that this game's gonna be completely different when it was like 80% the same. Like, I get, you need Titans, Hunters, and Warlocks. Those are your classes. You can't change them. You can add more. You can take them away. But those those three classes that we have now, we've gotten familiar with. It would have been nice if, back in Destiny 1 leading into Destiny 2, our character was brought over and you could tell that was our character, like, whereas, like,
Yeah.
maybe in the story, if you did play the first game, they referenced to other things, and if you didn't, they didn't.
Yeah.
But playing through with my Warlock and I reset my Warlock for the stream because I started the beginning part and realized, shit, I probably should have streamed that.
Right.
So that technically he counts as a new character. He's never existed before. Nothing was different. It was exactly the same. Like, they referenced things that happened in Destiny 1. This guy wasn't even alive.
Yeah, but then he wasn't part of the, like, what was the thing? I think it was a cutscene at the end where it went through all the raids and was like, oh, you completed the raid with this fire team. And like,
yeah, like that was the only thing, and I really appreciated that. That was very enjoyable to watch.
yeah.
But it's the same thing as like a cinematic. You just looked at it once and it was gone. There was no like continuous, like, they didn't in games they'll like reference back to what happened and be like, oh, well, this happened, maybe we should do this. Like with the Hive, oh, we've learned from our mistakes with the Hive. This is what we should do to deal with them this time. There's none of that.
Yeah. I think, like, and this is the reason why I don't fault Destiny for what they do, is because people are essentially asking Bungie and all these companies, and they say, hey, give us the perfect game. Give us what we want, And they say, we'll try, and like, it's apparent because you keep saying, oh, well, they promised us this thing, They promised us the best they could do, And like, when you're asked to do a perfect game in every person's eyes, every person has their own like perfect type of situations and perfect type of implications in a game, So like, obviously
that.
a big, like, you can appeal to a majority of people, but you'll never appeal to 100% of the people. And
Right.
like, obviously the goal is to appeal to the majority, but there will always be a minority that won't be appealed to. So like, the people who aren't complaining are the majority that this appeals to, and that's what they hope to try to
Well, either it
increase each
appeals
time.
to them, or they're just mindless zombies that'll buy whatever they fucking spit out.
But
'cause
that's the
Disney's
thing.
the best.
That's the thing. It's if they realize that the majority are mindless zombies, just buying whatever, then they'll create a game that is appealing to that like set to those people, because then they'll make more money appealing to the majority instead of the minority.
But you can't really say
And
that
I think-
because the people who are just buying Destiny because of the name, you've already got them. You've already sunk your claws into them. Now you gotta try and keep the people who might leave to stay here and draw more people in. The people who are like,
see, that's where
hey, you gonna buy
advertising
Destiny
comes
3?
in.
Yeah.
Well, that's where advertising comes in, Like, you could see that there was a clear-cut difference in the advertising of Destiny 2 than Destiny 1. Like, the advertising for Destiny 2 is a lot more, like, real-time, like, a lot more, like, real people doing real things. And it looked really cool because it was in, like, a Destiny format,
They had that for Destiny 1. It wasn't in the scale of that, but, like, they had, like, maybe, like, few second clips of like each different subclass on, I think it was the moon. And then they'll have like pictures of that character on the moon and stuff, but like they didn't have the ad that they had for Destiny 2. I think they had one close to that for the Rise of Iron. But I'm not entirely sure on that one.
And like that itself has its own problems as well, having more like money value in the advertising, because then people come to conclusions and they say, hey, all Bungie's putting their money into advertising, or they come to the conclusion that they're wasting their money on advertising instead of putting money into whatever they think is the best game, you know. So I think it's just like they'll always be at a loss in who they're trying to appeal to, and the minorities will always speak up and say that they're not appealing to the game that they want. So they'll just be criticized for it, no matter what. You know?
Well, that's anything in the entire world. But now, in like heavy advertising, but with Destiny 2, I saw a little less advertising, but they really shouldn't have had to advertise that much either, because as Destiny 2 is a continuation off of Destiny 1. So the only people you're trying to draw in are people who A, were old enough to play and their parents were really strict, and this is your chance to try and draw them in now that they're able to play it, or B, they just never heard of Destiny because they lived under a rock for the last 3 years. But
maybe
that amount of people was very small. And
yeah, I guess so.
Advertising is a billion-dollar industry. Maybe even, actually, no, it's probably a trillion-dollar industry. Like, I can't remember how much it is, but I know, like, a 30-second clip of an advertisement during the Super Bowl halftime show, I don't know how much it is now, but it used to be, like...
It's fucking insane.
$1.5 million. Just for 30 seconds.
And yeah, it's the people, and it's about majorities and minorities. The majority of the people will watch the FIFA World Cup, and the majority of the people will watch the Super Bowl. You know?
Right. But like, I don't know. I feel like if they wanted to try and make more money, they shouldn't advertise as much, because they spend way too much on advertising. A lot of people don't even watch TV now.
Yeah. Well, no, I actually saw a lot of Destiny 2 advertisements on like YouTube or Twitch, you know, mostly on Twitch.
Yeah, like that's,
so like that's where I saw it.
A lot of gamers should be seeing all game advertisements. The ones that show up on TV still anymore, they're either brand new and they're trying to reach everybody, or they just have money coming out of their dick and they can just spend it wherever they want.
I also think they use the Cade 6 character as a sort of...
That's because none of the other characters have any depth to them. Like,
I know, but
they
I'm
added
saying,
a little bit
they
with...
literally just used the Cade character as like a crutch for the entire dialogue of the story.
And then, if you didn't notice, they also added failsafe. They put Cade in failsafe in. So they have two crutches. Like, failsafe was kind of funny, and she's funny every now and then, and, you know, like, the reactions Ghost has towards her is funny every now and then, but, like, you can't depend on funny selling your game. Like, Destiny 5 can't come out and it's, hey, guess what Cade 6 is up to? You'll never believe what he's up to this time. Just a funny guy.
Yeah, I got that sense from it as well.
Like, one of the things I did appreciate that they did in this game that I hope they do a little bit better in the future to come is they added a little bit more of an emotional depth to Zavala and Ikora. Like, Ikora was upset that they took the light and she's afraid to die. That adds so much depth, whereas back then in Destiny 1, Cade was funny. He was already funny. There's nothing new about Cade. So he hasn't evolved at all from the last game. But Ikora's afraid, Whereas back in Destiny 1, she just sat at a fucking table for 3 years.
Yeah. And did nothing.
Same thing with
whatsoever.
Zavala. Zavala was literally just standing there. Like, Ikora, would talk on the radio, and so would Zavala. But they never sounded personal. Like, they just sounded...
Right.
Like, I know it's scripted, but it's hard to get personal and, like, feel like your interactions with someone in the game is genuine when all they do is sit at a table and they're just talking. Now, Kate was ripping jokes and he was being funny, and he didn't really interact that much. Like in the Taken King, he took Erisborn's ship to give to you to do the cloaking and stuff, and he worked closely with you and all that stuff. But in this game, they had Zavala. I get that. Took everybody to the Titan, trying to use that as a backup, and it failed. And he's depending on you to help him. Not that much different, but he's gotta send you because he can't do it himself now. Whereas back then, he was sending a bunch of other people to do this stuff because he had to manage all the people doing all the other stuff. Someone's gotta manage something. Whereas now, if he goes out and does something, he could die.
Right.
It's like that.
So
I feel like
maybe
this
that
was a good
giving
idea.
a sense of whole dire consequences, what you're talking about before.
Yeah,
maybe
but
you did get a sense of that.
There's a sense of that, but it wasn't. There's no consequence to me taking forever to do something, Like, I get that this is a game and they can't sculpt it to each player's different outcome, because eventually people are going to have to do the raid together, or strikes, or nightfalls, and they can't make those different because, oh well, Billy here saved everybody, whereas Kyle over here got all 3 of the fucking Vanguard killed.
Right.
So who's going to talk to Kyle? Well, we don't know. Fuck it, we'll just have them talk to him anyway. This guy's already got them still alive. Like, I can understand where it's hard for them to do that, but at the same time, like, there's no consequence. Like, a bunch of Guardians died. We don't know them. They're just computer-generated Guardians that just died.
Yeah.
Does not matter to me whatsoever. Like, there's no tie to me as the character. Now, like, Erisborn's not here. The speaker looks like he probably died. But we don't know. We're never confirmed whether the speaker's dead or Erisborn is dead. Just like the characters that brings up my point about
the DLC. That brings up my point about the DLC then. Is like, if they consciously made the decision to leave out certain plot points in the whole game, so just so that they could release it later in DLC, then should we think of them as like hindering our ability to experience this game and just trying to make money off of us, to a sense?
Well, that's correct, because I'll put it to you this way: when we used to play on PlayStation 2.
Kyle, Alex is at my house right now.
Why is he at your house?
He walked in my door. He walked in my door. I've been waiting for you to say something this entire time. What have you been doing? Oh, that was the biggest, what just happened?
I'm so happy that I got that reaction. What?
It was... Okay. What the fuck just happened? I thought he was here the entire time, listening to this.
You thought he was on?
Yeah, cause he was like, "Here, I'll start the stream so you guys can talk about, Destiny 2 and video games and stuff, and it'll be like a podcast." I'm like, oh, "Okay, that's cool." And then he goes silent, so I thought he was just listening the entire time.
Well,
yeah.
I'll have to listen whenever he goes to edit it, so.
Yeah, he'll hear himself.
But so, DLCs are definitely a way companies are trying to make more money, because back when we would play on the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, the companies who were making games back then, minuscule amount of them probably sold DLCs. And the DLCs in no way, shape, or form had any way that would affect your experience in the gameplay. Whereas now, I have to spend half as much money as I spent on the game just to get maybe 2 hours extra of gameplay.
Right.
And, like, so back then, all the DLC that we're paying for now used to be included in the game. And I don't know. I would much rather games have gone up. It's like back then, even games cost $60.
See,
I would much rather
again.
games
It's
go up like
it's
$10.
See, there it is again. It's the I would much rather. You know, it's the.
Well, it
I
doesn't
would-
matter
like,
how much I would rather.
That's the thing. Is like every single person has this complaint. Every single person will have a complaint, saying I would
But-
rather have it this way, and like I think Bungie's
But
making
you're
a
gonna
mistake
sit.
like this.
You're gonna sit there and say
Nobody
that
is going
no
to
one.
win.
You're gonna sit there and tell me someone out there's like, yeah, I'll pay $30 extra to play. Yeah, I would. I
They
would rather
will.
pay
That's what I'm
$30.
saying. People will do
Why
that
would people
because-
want to pay $30? Because they're
people-
fucking stupid.
That's the thing. People have jobs and they like have a sense of pride in saying that they decide what like where their money goes. You know,
That has nothing to do with it.
it does.
If
It has
someone-
everything to do
no,
with
if
it. It
someone-
has everything.
If
Like, they're
someone
and like
listen,
that's
if
why
I
that
try to
makes
sell you
perfect
a
sense
bed
because that's
for
why the
$100,
advertising. That's why the advertising was like more played towards the like the adult and like there was like action scenes with like real time thing, like a kid would rather have like what Destiny 1 had, but like
I
that
completely
listen,
disagree
it
with
makes
you.
a lot
No.
more sense.
It does not.
It does. It
If I
absolutely
offer
does.
you a mattress for $100 or $200, which one would you pick?
If
They
it
have
was
they are the
$200,
same
but
mattress.
if it was $200 but over
No.
but I paid
There's
$10
nothing-
every single month. But if I
no,
paid $10
there's
every
no
single
hidden
month
thing.
and I got my mattress, paid off after however many months, then yeah, I would rather like do that. Would you rather
No,
buy a
it's-
car
it's-
and a house for $1 bajillion, or would you rather pay it monthly? It's exactly the same thing.
That's
It
that's
is exactly
no,
the
that's
same
completely
thing.
incoherent to what I was asking.
It is.
No, it's not the same thing. Would you rather pay $100 for a mattress or $200 for the same
Oh my-
mattress? There's nothing special.
It's
Literally,
not
you're
the
paying
same
$100.
mattress then.
Yes, it is. It's
Oh
either
my
you're
gosh.
paying $100 for it or $200 for it.
But you're
You
but
buy
you're
it from the
getting a better
manufacturer for
mattress.
$100, or you're buying it from the fucking
What are you
retailer
co-
who amped it
what
up
are you
$100.
comparing- What are you comparing this analogy to?
Would you rather pay $60 for a game with everything included, or $90 after you buy all the DLC separately from the fucking game?
And that's what I'm saying. Is like you need to define what is a game. Like we need to define. We need to have parameters and say, well, a game is blank amount of data, and if that game is taken out, then it costs this amount of money. If a game goes above this amount of data, then it costs this much money. Like there are no parameters and there are no rules for that right now.
A game
So,
should
like,
not come
until-
out and be like, hey,
Listen.
we plan on adding more. They should have already added it. They were already planning on making the game. Why the fuck didn't they add it?
Also, you also have to think about like maybe the game wants to be adaptive in the way it creates its content. So like maybe they want to get a sense of what the community wants, like given this initial thing, and then people say, well, we want this, because there's no way you can predict,
The only game I've ever seen that do that in modern times is Fallout 4. That was
And
the
Minecraft.
only company I've. Minecraft is not DLC. That's skin packs, textures. Those do not. They count as
It's still
DLC
updates.
to the marketplace.
Well, no,
What do you
I'm
mean
talking
they're
about the
still
updates. I'm saying
no,
the
the up-
updates are
the-
similar.
The updates.
What that
Are you
is.
talking about the Xbox One or the PC version?
No, just Minecraft in general. Updates, it's adapted to what the community wants.
So are you talking about the PC or the Xbox?
It doesn't matter.
It
Oh my
does
gosh.
matter because if it's the
No.
updates to the Xbox One, we're trying to catch up to PC. So there's
Well,
no.
and then the PC, well, it's just iterative on itself. The PC is based on the community, so the Xbox is also based on the community, just farther behind. Like, it doesn't matter if it's farther behind or on time. Like, you're focusing on the wrong parts of this argument here.
How am I focusing on
you,
the wrong parts of the argument?
Are you in Destiny right now, or are you still doing something?
I'm still at the homepage. I just heard my dinner get ready, so I'm gonna go grab it real quick.
Oh. Okay. ¿Qué tiempo hace? ¿Qué tiempo hace? No, ¿qué tiempo hace? No, ¿qué tiempo hace? Open sesame. Mis amigas. So what did that say, Jordan? Uh-huh.
Now I need to decide what I'm playing.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm fairly certain that we're not raiding tonight, so
What if we go
that
into
would mean
that
that
guided games thing?
we're still not gonna raid.
Why not?
Because that would mean half our team doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, like, we've all done the raid before.
Yeah, you, me, and Alex. We went to the guided
Yeah, but I
games, half our
assume-
team
but I
wouldn't know what the
assume
fuck
if-
they're doing.
Listen, I assume if you're going into the Prestige guided game one, then
Is there a
you would
Prestige
know.
one?
Yeah, you can select Prestige for the guided game.
I'm still not gonna risk it. I got
Well,
I got
if
an
that's
hour to be on. I'm not gonna
You only have
spend
an
it
hour?
doing one part of the raid. I mean, I'll probably have more, but I'd rather say I have an hour than, oh, I have an hour and a half, and then I end up using the whole hour and a half. Where if I say I have an hour, and then I allot myself 30 extra minutes in case I go over. Because I know if I say an hour and a half, I'll use up the hour and a half, and then I'll go over that. So I know I'm probably not going to stick to my, I have an hour. I'm probably going to go over. I'm going to play the Minecraft Xbox Live version.
I still need to get Minecraft for the Xbox. Look, I don't have enough of that. I wish I could.
Can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah. Why?
You can hear me, I can't hear you. But you're talking, I can see you talking. That means there's something wrong
Do
with
you
my headset.
have your mic muted? I'm going to keep talking until you hear what I'm saying. And then your mic is
can hear you.
fixed. Still talking until you hear what I'm saying.
I can hear you.
And it doesn't matter if you can hear me, I'm still gonna talk.
Oh, you have the right to exercise that freedom.
Okay, thank you, Judge Kyle.
You're welcome.
Judge Fudge.
Judge, lick my nuts.
Nah. Leroy Jenkins. Well, when are you guys raiding then? Tomorrow?
I have no idea.
You guys really need to figure out your communication.
No.
You guys got to work on your synergy and some team building exercises.
Take it easy,
And,
Exile Mobile.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Bruh. Just keep that in mind, Jordan. Will always be the voice in your head. Mm-hmm.
Back again. Shady's back. Tell a
Can't believe you
friend.
went to my house.
I I am so glad you had that reaction.
That was literally the last thing I was expecting. I've never expected the last thing in my life, and then that thing happened.
It was fucking hilarious to just open that door and like look at you and you just it took you a solid 2 seconds to process that I was
To be
standing in your door.
like, no joke. Like, our brain processes things like in nanoseconds, but like I had to take a minute. to be honest.
You're just
That
like,
was rough.
"What?" I went back to Whitney in the car. I was like, that was the perfect like response. That was exactly what I wanted right there. Oh my god.
So what were you were expecting him to be gone? Like he was just sitting there listening?
No, like
I just thought he was
No,
listening.
I'm
the
talking about
entire
Joe.
time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just thought he was
I
listening.
thought he was
the
getting his
entire
dick
time.
sucked.
Damn.
What are you doing right now, Joe?
Crucible.
I feel
'Cause
for you.
Kyle said we're probably not gonna raid tonight.
No, but you and I can still do shit. I'm just.
Well, no, like if we're not gonna raid, then I need to go to bed soon because I have a test tomorrow.
Oh, you do. Well, you know,
Yeah.
we could have raided, except you know, Kyle and all the rest of them lied to me. So.
Yeah, it's
I
okay.
told you I'd be home about 9:30, 10, depending on traffic.
And we got home at 10:30.
I got home at 10. Correct. Depending on traffic meant that it could change. There was an accident. So, had to take a longer route.
You've let me down this day.
More like you let yourself down.
I've been
Congratulations.
trying.
You
I've
played
been
yourself.
organizing this for weeks now. Fucking Sean said it was
You
the military that
literally
got in
organized
the
this
way.
for maybe 1 or 2 weeks, maybe.
Let me ask you something real quick. Is 2 weeks weeks? Because I'm pretty sure that's plural.
Sure.
Yeah. So how about you shove a fat one right up your
Wow.
ass?
Shove a fat one. Wow.
Wow. Oh wow.
Wow.
Kyle, would you be interested as soon as Joe gets off in playing Fortnite?
I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest, I honestly don't know.
Well, why?
I don't know. Any
So-
Eclipse, you get the fuck away from here.
So did you guys realize that there's armor specific to each planet that you can get?
You've already told me this.
I did?
God damn it.
Yeah, you told me you were gonna collect all the
Yeah.
armor sets.
I thought there was only one for IO and for Nessus, because I had never seen any of the ones for Titan. But there's one for Titan. I have 2 pieces for it now, but I don't understand how they drop. Like, you get them from.
I think
the
you get
ven-
them specifically from the people. Like
Yeah,
the,
you do, but it's
the-
like, I don't know like what their drop rate is, because I got them back to back for the one on Titan. Like, I got 2 different pieces back to back, and then
Mhm.
on Nessus, like, I've turned in 10 packages today and haven't gotten one. It's like, I don't know, maybe
Hey,
I just
you
had a
said-
statistical anomaly.
You said it was a grind. I mean, there's no anomalies in statistics.
What?
Yeah, there is. That's what statistics is supposed to prove, is if there's an anomaly or
It's
not.
just RNG.
That. What?
And that's a probability, which deals with statistics.
Yeah, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's not like, oh, like there's a reason you're getting less of this one item.
No,
or not.
this is
It's
the
just
fucking
random.
3 coins bullshit again, isn't it, Joe?
It's the what?
The 3/4 thing, flipping 3/4 and shit. This is all that over again for you,
What the
isn't
fuck
it?
are you talking about?
You flip 3/4, you get heads 3 times, and it's less likely than all the others.
What are you?
The thing Gavin goes on about, Joe.
Oh, the thing
Yeah,
where you're just
man.
wrong about normal statistics?
No, he's not. I actually have proof this time. There's several studies about this kind of stuff.
No.
You're a
It's just
fucking
like-
idiot.
Did you read it?
Yes, I read
Just
it.
saying
You
there-
know,
just saying
you
there are
think
several
with me
studies.
being the fucking crazy person that I am, I didn't read something that meant you were wrong? Who do you think I am?
My
The
understanding
guy who's
of the
eager to
scenario
tell
is
tell him
that
he's wrong.
my understanding of the scenario is that you think I'm talking about a certain situation, and I'm talking about a certain situation, but I don't think my situation is the same as your situation.
What the
My
fuck are you
situation.
talking about?
My situation is that you have a bag of numbers. All of them are 5 characters long. So you have a bag of numbers.
I've
all
been
the
dealing with this
numbers
shit all
containing-
fucking time you've been gone, Erwin.
So you have a bag. You have a bag containing all the numbers that have 5 digits in them. 5-digit long numbers. All of them are in this bag. Okay? And picking the number 1, 2, 3, 4 is the same probability as picking any other number in that bag. That is the scenario I have been talking about ever since freshman year. And I
It's-
don't know what scenario you think I was talking about. That was the
What you're
scenario I was
saying
talking
is
about the entire time.
only the case. Only the case if you're saying that all of them are their own individual things and not like acting as part
You
of a whole.
recorded? Cut.
The if
Wait,
you have
okay,
a bag
start over.
with 5 things and they're all equally likely, the probability
No,
of getting
not
all of
5
them
things.
is the same.
Every number with 5 digits. Every possible number with 5 digits. Not just
Right.
5 things. So there's a shit ton of numbers, okay?
Well, the probability of getting one of those is all equally likely.
Yes.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you are talking about them as an individual, but you keep talking about them as a group, and that's not correct. If you're talking about them
No.
as a group, then say like
I'm not gonna
each
say
one,
anything.
say
I'm
like
not
each
gonna say
one
anything.
is 1%. Then the one that you want, say you want 1, 2, 3, 4, has a 1% chance of dropping, whereas all the other ones have a 99% chance of dropping.
That is incorrect.
That is correct.
You have 1%
Thank you,
chance
Kyle.
of getting
Okay,
the one that
see,
you
Alex,
want.
somebody else disagrees with you.
99%.
On that note, I'm going to bed because I have a test tomorrow.
He just
so
agreed
you guys
with
can
me.
discuss farther. No, he disagreed with you.
He disagreed
But
with me by
anyways,
saying disagree with
yeah.
me, but he said the exact same thing I said.
Doesn't go up.
We can talk about it when we raid tomorrow if you guys
I don't
coordinate
know.
there.
Kyle might just back out at the last second.
I didn't back out. Don't you put that on evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I know, you actually showed up. What the fuck was Cameron talking about today?
What do you
With
mean?
like him being like, oh, I'm gonna be dead, sorry.
Oh, he was working all day today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he was been working since 7 o'clock last night.
I almost feel bad for him. It's the life I chose. Something, gunshots, hose. I don't know. I've never really listened to the song.
Boats and hose?
Maybe? Step. What was that movie called?
I don't know.
Step. I really don't remember
Step-
now.
Step
Kids?
by step?
No. It's the Will Ferrell and
Fallen are planning to do with these.
Oh, Step Brothers.
Step
Some kind of
Brothers.
remote
That's it.
probes to study the Vex? Raw materials for something?
But anyway, Kyle, are you interested in playing some Fortnite?
I don't know.
I mean, it's either for
Like-
me, you either play Fortnite, or you play Siege, or you play Destiny. Because I think those are the only 3 games you and I share.
Well, that might be correct. I don't know if I feel like playing those games.
Oh, I get it. You just don't want to play with me. Fucking
Yep,
back out of
you
the
got it.
raid. and now you don't even want to play anything with me. I understand.
You
No,
caught
it's
me.
fine. You know, it doesn't hurt whatsoever.
Their persistence is inspiring.
That's good. I was really afraid it was gonna hurt your feelings,
No,
but
you're
now
not.
that
If
Now
you
that I'm
if you
hearing
were
that,
concerned
you're
about it,
not-
you wouldn't
you're
have
not
done
hurt.
it.
well, I mean that's incorrect, because I can't predict how you're gonna feel whenever I do something unless I am aware of how I would feel. And I'm glad that you are able to tell me that you don't really care about me not playing with you tonight. So
By the way, I'm
That really takes a
I'm actually
whole-
really looking forward to looking at the footage of you and Joe just talking while I was gone. Please tell me there was
Joe
a lot
got
of
me
it.
so fucking. Joe got me flared up. I don't know what the fuck he is going on through his head,
He's
but it
such
is
an
wrong
idiot
and so
sometimes.
incorrect. He was like, well, one of the things was like, that he was saying was like, well, you keep saying if it were me, but not everyone's the same as you. And I was like, I get that, but at the same time, I use this analogy. If you were to pay $100 or $200 for a mattress, which one would you pick? It's the same fucking mattress, but you have the option of paying $100 or $200. Which would you pick?
$100.
Right. And back then, DLCs came included with a game. So you
Right.
only paid $60 for the whole thing, but now we're paying $90. $60 for the game and $30 for the DLC. Now
Right.
with Destiny last year, you could have gotten the whole thing for $60 if you waited 3 years.
Right.
So, if you didn't wait 3 years and you got everything whenever it was available, you have spent $210. That's a far cry from 60.
I spent $210.
I understand that. I understand the Rise of Iron and the Taken King were supposed to be like. It's kind of. I feel like the Taken King and the Rise of Iron were kind of like Saints Row 4. They were supposed to. Saints Row 4 was supposed to be a DLC to Saints Row 3, but it was so large they thought they could just use it as its own game. But like they used these same mapping characters.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it was actually they did a good job because it wasn't the same game. It wasn't like running around trying to beat all the other games. This was like, hey, spoiler for anyone who doesn't know what Saints Row 4 is. But it was running around trying to defeat this alien overlord who, another spoiler alert, was not that hard of a boss.
Yeah, so like with Taken King, I actually thought that Bungie did a good job with Taken King.
They
And
did
how
a good job. Barely $.
No,
It was
definitely
worth
wasn't.
30.
It definitely. I mean, Rise of Iron
I would
was
have given it 15.
not fairly priced than Taken King. Like Taken King, they
I
priced
don't know.
as basically a new Destiny. Like that was
They did
supposed
the same
to be
thing
Destiny
with the Rise of
2.
Iron.
Yeah, but at least for Rise of Iron, it was only $35 or $25, whereas Taken King was $60.
I thought
You
it was
know.
$60.
No,
It
I
was
would've-
$60 when I paid for it.
there's no. You must have not had one of the DLCs because I couldn't afford it if that would have been the case. But like, it was a good expansion. Because
Well, I
even though
agree.
there wasn't a ton there, like adding the new map was huge because
Well, I
they
don't know if it
hadn't
was
done that.
huge.
No, it was just huge in the idea because they hadn't done something like that yet. They hadn't added a new map for you to play in 2 DLCs. They'd done Prison of Elders, but that fucking sucked, A. And B, it was just like it wasn't a new patrol place. It was an arena thing, which felt really lazy to me at the time, even.
Oh, well, there were like screenshots of when they were first working on the DLC, and it wasn't even supposed to be an arena. It was supposed to be a raid.
Why? See, like that's the thing. Like, why not make it a raid? They knew everybody wanted a raid. But
It was
with,
supposed to be a raid, and you're supposed to fight from like asteroid to asteroid inside the reef.
oh, are you fucking kidding me? That'd be fucking sick.
Yeah,
Why take that from
you were
us?
supposed to. You were supposed to fight. I don't remember his name, but the guy that you end up fighting at the hardest level of the arena.
Oh, Skolas.
You end up fighting. Yeah, you end up fighting Skolas from asteroid to asteroid until you eventually basically it's the same thing that happened in the story. You corner him and the queen takes him and punishes him, and you know how the Archon priest and the one strike. Shit, it's on Venus.
Yeah, the Archon Pre-Strike.
Yeah, isn't it like Winter's End or whatever?
Yes.
So it was supposed to be like that was his punishment. He was gonna be put in one of those and sent to the Archon prison or whatever.
Right.
But instead, they just sent him to
The prison.
the arena, the prison of elders, and let us kill him.
Yeah, like, why... I don't know, like, if it was something technical, like, they just couldn't do that. But that... What you just described to me is, like, that's cool. That's original. It sounds hard and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Right.
Like, why not do that is my question.
And it was definitely something like, sure, they've done the raid before, but like, you go from asteroid to asteroid, you can do literally a bunch of different stuff on the asteroid. Like, there's a bunch of Vex on this one, there's a bunch of Cabal on this one, there's a bunch of... You can do anything on them. Like, exactly what they did, but you could have made it a lot more creative than, here's an arena, they're all this, blah, blah, blah. Instead of, like, a planet. This is just a room. This is a, well, not planet, but, like, an asteroid. That, I guess you technically, if you wanted to, call it a planet, because apparently Jupiter, not Jupiter, Pluto, some people still count that as a planet. Even though it's not that much bigger than an asteroid.
Yeah, but that's not the only thing. We're getting into a different topic here.
Yeah, but
thing,
my point being is, like, you had so much more possibility and potential from that, and they're like, fuck it, let's just throw them in arena, Borderlands style.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Only fucking Bungie with Destiny could hear people say, hey, we want more raid content and stuff like that. Because, you know, Crota sucked. That raid was awful. You know, it was so easy.
It wasn't their best, but it definitely wasn't their worst.
No, but I mean, like, if you could do the raid one man, you know it's not that great a raid.
I don't know. I think
when they went back and Rise of Iron and stuff like that, that made it a lot better. How they redid things with it. I think they actually, like, really made it better.
I did like the Rise of Iron, where, like, I think Rise of Iron was probably the first part that, like, counted as a... Because, like, in the Crota raid, you had to cross the gorge, and that wasn't a boss fight itself, but, I mean, it wasn't hard, you know? The hard part was doing it legitimately, but, you know, after we actually tried it legitimately, did we realize it wasn't that hard. But it was so easy to cheese it. In the Wrath of the Machine raid, there's no way to cheese it. You have to go through it.
Right. You know, and there's...
Which I will also commend Bungie for finding a way to force people to do their game instead of cheating. While I might have been one of the people who cheated, I still can commend that, you know, they found a way around cheaters.
Yeah.
But I guess in that instance, I don't know if you'd call it cheating more than exploiting what the game put in.
That's exactly what a cheater would
Now, if
say.
they... Well, no, but, like, if they put an invisible wall there, and then you cheated to get out of it, like, you had to type in a code or whatever to break the game, that's cheating.
So, here's what I was going to say, though. Is that only Bungie, with the second DLC for Destiny 1, could hear people in the first in the vanilla game and the first DLC. Say, hey, we want more raid content, and say, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get rid of the raid for this DLC.
Hey, we want a more in-depth raid. You know, this whole raid thing's just too linear. Let's do something that's, you know, more exciting. Did you guys hear that? They want exciting raids.
Let's give
I
them
got an idea for it.
nothing.
I got an idea. Let's give them everything they didn't ask for.
That's like what I told my brother when we started playing Destiny 2 and we realized there were no LMGs in the game. I was like, fucking only Bungie could hear, hey, can you fix them and all that? Say, all right, and we hear them and they hear, oh yeah, let's get rid of LMGs and replace them with fucking grenade launchers, which nobody likes. Like, I've seen forums and stuff about this shit. People hate grenade launchers.
You should have heard Joe when I told him that if you did the Iron Banner thing, you would have gotten an LMG. He was so happy.
I was there. When he went back and turned in his last package and there was nothing there, and he was so sad.
Oh man, I wish I could have been there.
I wanted to believe. I think like I knew that you were lying to him, which I thought was funny, but I wanted so badly for you to believe that it could be true that they had brought them back. Because LMGs, I loved LMGs in Destiny.
LMGs were so fucking OP.
They were like
But they were a good
in
kind
the
of OP. Like,
Crucible.
they deserved to be.
No, yeah, because they in PvE they weren't like really fantastic. Rocket launchers were always better in
No.
PvE, but in PvP,
Eh.
fucking. Well, I mean, not all rocket launchers, but like Thunderlord was just good. That was the end.
Yeah.
Thunderlord was just good, you know. But fucking in PvP, machine guns were god. Like, you remember getting the emblem Machine Lord and stuff like that when you get 5 kills with a machine gun. If you got the heavy ammo with a machine gun in Destiny 1, you became god for as long as you had ammo in that thing. Like, there was no escaping.
The Silver Dread.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God. I don't know how many kills I got with that thing, but it was so OP. It was the perfect LMG. I don't care who you ask. That was the perfect LMG.
Yeah,
It had
and
perfect stability, perfect impact. It only took like 3 or 4 bullets to kill a person.
yeah, and
The
that, like,
handling was perfect.
and that's what kind of ticks me off is that they're like, oh well, we gave you submachine guns and we gave you submachine guns and grenade launchers, and why aren't you happy with that? I'm like, because is it really that much to ask that you just like keep everything in?
Online and ready.
Like, there's no reason to get rid of shit and say that you're doing great work by doing that, you know? Like, just keep all of it in. We liked all of it. Like, what was can you name me one gun class that you thought didn't need to be in Destiny?
Shotguns.
Yeah, but you only did that when you were playing against shotguns. When you had a shotgun, that story was a little different, wasn't it, Kyle?
Accessing node 787.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, running around with the fucking universal remote and shit.
4B.
I actually never got that.
That's not true. You used it against
That is
Kyle.
completely true.
Oh, no, you were the one we used it against. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh man, I always thought I for some reason remembered you being Cameron in that situation. I was like, man, Cameron was always so fucking pissed at Kyle for using the universal remote, and then I'm like, oh wait, and then you said, I'm like, oh yeah, it was you. You were the one who was losing his mind.
Because you pieces of shit were shotgunning me from the distance that a shotgun would never be able to reach.
It's the universal remote, Kyle. It does everything.
It's a piece of shit. It can suck my dick.
Well, it's gone now. Unless they bring it back in
Good.
Osiris.
It can't hurt me anymore.
But
But like, oh, and here's another thing that Joe was saying that was just it was grinding my gears. So I said it would have been a nice treat for people who play Destiny 1 to get a little extra in Destiny 2. And Joe's like, they did. And I was like, in what form? And he was like, at the beginning, they went through all the raids that you did. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you counting that? He was like, yeah, that's from the last game. I was like, that's like a cinematic.
Yeah.
Like, skip that.
I
I
actually
want
did
something that
skip it.
actually means something.
Like, I absolutely
Like,
agree
sure,
with
I
you.
watched through it the first time, but after that, like, it was cool to see that they actually took down who I beat those raids with for the first time.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's no other point to it. There's
No, I 100%
no
agree.
like Zavala has unique dialogue with you now, or Ikora, or Kate, or fuck, what's her name? Amanda Holiday, or Master Raoul. Anyone from Destiny 1 who made it to Destiny 2, unique dialogue.
Yeah. You know, they
I
act.
have-
You could literally be a brand new player to this whole thing. Cause what was the
I
point of me
was. I
transferring?
reset my Warlock.
No. But I'm saying,
It
like,
was
what's
exactly
the
the
point
same.
of me transferring my character from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 if there's nothing like special about
There
that,
was
you
no
know?
point. All there was your character was already made. You saved 5 minutes. There's your treat.
Yeah, like,
Congratulations, you saved 5 minutes
and
to
that
get into the
plays
game.
into a whole theme with Destiny 2 that kind of pisses me off a lot, is that the whole thing just genuinely feels disrespectful to the players who stuck around for all 3 years of Destiny 1 and then bought Destiny 2.
It really does.
You know, it feels like they just, like, and this was what I was saying to Joe, and when he was going on about, like, the numbers and all that kind of stuff, like
The numbers,
yeah,
Mason.
yeah, I actually had a kid stand up in my freshman calculus class and scream that because he didn't understand what was going on. It was hilarious, I'll admit. But like, we stuck through this whole thing. We were the players that were there from day one till the end, and then came for Destiny 2, and they just threw all of Destiny 2 out the fucking, or out Destiny 1 rather, out the fucking window. And so that never really mattered or happened in this timeline now. And I'm like, no, hold on a
Why
sec.
couldn't Joe have been the one who left? I can agree with a lot of what you're saying, and Joe's just like contradicting everything. Like, well, no, shut up, Joe.
Well, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why do that? You know, like, why disrespect the players who stuck around? And to me,
Because we're only
even
a
from a
cash cow
business,
to them.
but even from a business standpoint, that doesn't make any sense. You're disrespecting players who are literally stay. You know, like, these games are like you said with DLCs. These games make most of their money not from the original release, but from the DLCs later on. So it's the players that stick around that make them the money. So why would you ostracize them so hard? You know, like, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I'll give you a prime example of why that is correct. I almost didn't buy this game.
Right.
Cameron was the money to buy the game.
I
For that,
didn't
I
buy
would
this
never
game,
bought the
and
game.
I love Destiny. Like, Destiny's my fucking crack, and I almost didn't buy it. When I played the beta, there was nothing there. You know? Absolutely understand what you're saying there.
And we got Joe, and Joe's like, "Ooh, don't you know?"
But, like, it just doesn't. It makes no sense to me why they're trying so hard to play to the plebeian crowd when they have a substantial player base who come back and play regularly and play more than 5 or 6 hours a week. You know.
Here's why I told Joe. They spend so much money on advertising that now that they're in Destiny 2 and they're still spending almost as much, the same, why? This is Destiny 2. All you gotta say is Destiny 2. And everyone's gonna know what it is. If they've played the game, they know. And if they haven't, those are the gonna get. You should not be spending as much money advertising Destiny 2 as you had Destiny 1. The only reason why you would do that is to try and keep the people who were there to stay or get new people to come in.
Absolutely.
That would in turn give you more money to work on the game.
And you're right. Like, it's another thing where I don't understand what their idea is. You know, like what's their plan?
One of the other things Joe and I talked about was the difference between what they promised in Destiny 1 to what actually happened in Destiny 1. Destiny 1 was supposed to be, things that you did mattered. Not like that was why you would want to have one of each character.
Right.
The story
absolutely.
was supposed to be slightly different for each character. It doesn't matter now. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
That's why you don't even bother doing any of the other characters. It's the same thing, and you prefer Titans. Why bother doing any other character?
There's no reason for me to use anything to Titan.
The only reason is to get the 2 achievements, and after you get that, fuck them, you don't need them anymore.
No,
get
you
out of
don't. And not even just that whole thing. Like, the other thing that, like, super pisses me off is that strikes, like, the streaker strike, rather, like how you're trying to track down those guards who went missing and all that kind of stuff, and then you start to hear them.
I never found out what happened to them.
They die. They all die.
Right, but we never find their bodies.
No, because they're the crystals that you shoot.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing, is like, that's not the first time that kind of thing's happened in Destiny, where the player is like desperately trying to get to this guardian that's like lost or has been captured or something like that, and we never make it in time. And that shit pisses me off. Once, just fucking once have us make it and save them. Stop being easy.
Why? You know why they're probably doing that?
Why is that?
Because then that person that we saved is gonna have to end up at the tower, and that's someone else they're gonna have to pay to do audio dialogue for.
No, but don't even
Like, not
don't
only
even
are they
make
gonna
it.
have to do.
Don't even make it like that. Just make it as somebody you come across in, like, they're just an NPC in the fucking world, and that's all you have to do. You don't. They're not somebody you have to like see anymore. They're not somebody that. They're just there, and they have lore behind them and stuff like that, and that's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to make them a fucking vendor. You don't have to do any of that shit. Because there's already a shitload of vendors. Like, an absolute...
But everyone needs a purpose. If they're just standing there, they're not doing anything for the game.
No, they don't even stand there. You just never see them again. As soon as you complete that mission, they're gone. Out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. That's it. That... I don't want them... I want them to, like when in Destiny 1, where we were, in that one mission, we were desperately trying to get to Praedyth in the Vault of Glass. He's been lost for forever. And we're, like hundreds of years this guy's been lost, and we're that close to getting him, and then we don't. Like, why not?
See, but
why
I
not
kind of
pull
like
Praedyth
that one,
out of
though.
it? No, but like,
See,
like
that's another thing though. I like how, oh, he's been dead for like hundreds of years, and it's just the fact that because of the way the Vault of Glass has been set up, that we're just now getting his transmissions. But what I'm sure you're about to mention is like we could have pulled him out of it.
Right.
There's definitely a way that we could
Like-
reach into a different time of the Vault of Glass and pull him out and his entire fire team.
Or not even that. I was thinking more along the lines of, like, if you just mission fast enough, you got to him beforehand. But no matter how fast you do the mission, you still end up not making it in time. And that pisses me off. Like, there's no...
Well, like-
just give us different incentives, you know?
Well, time, but maybe like different paths. Because
Yeah,
like no matter what
different
time, he's already dead. He's still been dead.
But, like,
But,
or
like,
if there was...
Maybe if I go
you-
down this way, the time was affected differently, therefore he's still alive down this path. Whereas if I take this way, this is how the time's been affected, and he's been dead for hundreds of years.
Or even, like, something secret at the end, you know? Where, like... Where, like... You're standing there over him, and you're thinking that's the end. The timer's counting down, but then you notice in the back of the room there's like a door, and as soon as you walk through that door, the timer cancels, and you keep going, and you realize that if you keep going down this path, you're going backwards, and you can pull him out of it. You know, like things like that. Like it's not that hard to write this in, you know. And I know it wouldn't be hard for them to code it in to like do all that, because they've done it, like them and other companies have done it before. Fucking Call of Duty 3 did it, where they're like, hey, gotcha, you thought the mission was over, turns out it's not. And they did it 3 times in that game. That game came out in like 2006. You know, it's not hard for them
Speaking
to do
of Call
it.
of Duty, another part I was using Call of Duty for was, you know, the transition from Call of Duty World at War to Modern Warfare to Advanced Warfare. Like, it went from literally like bolt action rifles to machine guns and shotguns and all that stuff to we're able to fly around with jetpacks now. Like, they were evolving. Like, granted they were doing it over a long period of time, but with Destiny they had 3 years. Literally 80% of Destiny 2 is Destiny 1. There's no difference. They changed a few subclasses, changed the ones that we were kept, the way that some of those were managed and controlled and how they worked. Other than that, the remaining 16% is the new story. New parts of maps.
The other thing is that they still have yet to make being the different classes matter in any regard whatsoever.
That honestly should have been their first priority when they came out with
It
Destiny
should have been.
2.
Like
I understand that they were pressured for Destiny 1 because of Activision. I totally get that.
Yeah,
But they had
Destiny 1,
3 years
I
to fix
give
their
them a
mistake.
pass.
They had 3 years to fix any mistake they made. I understand you can't fix the subclass shit because what's done is done. You can't change it now. That's a game. You can't change the core aspect from the game and have people who already play the game miss out on the experience. I completely get that. But we literally are forced to start fresh. Literally, They told us to go fuck ourselves. What you did in Destiny 1 doesn't matter. Then why don't you do something new? Instead of literally, we're just doing the story.
Right, if
nothing different.
you are like gonna say Destiny 2 is a clean slate, you know, like we're starting completely over from scratch, well then actually start over from scratch. You had 3 years of not, like, you don't even have to look at like community people in general, like just random people in comment sections and forums and stuff like that. Like, there are huge ass YouTubers who give super good constructive criticism of these things and suggestions and stuff like that. You had 3 years of people doing that, and it's like they said, we hear what you're saying, we just don't give a shit, you know.
one of the things, I know we've already talked about this, and I'm sure it's in one of your other videos, but the mysterious stranger comes
Oh
and
my
goes.
god, I know,
We meet her like
right?
3 times, and they were like, "Yeah, we're done." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Or
Three
no,
years,
it
and
was the
all
fact that they said it wasn't that they were done with her. It was the
we
fact
feel
that they
like that
said
end that was
we
satisfying,
tied that up nicely. And it's
which
like,
was completely incorrect.
yeah, because no person who played Destiny in the world said, "Hey, that storyline finished correctly." Every person said, "What the fuck happened, and when are you going to finish it?" You left this like huge open-ended question of who the stranger is. Literally, the person is named the stranger, and then you're just like, yeah, no, we absolutely, she gave you a gun, it's perfect. Absolutely, yeah. You don't get to know who she was
She gave
talking
you
to,
her
what she was
gun.
talking about, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and she just gives you her gun and then disappears. She says she's not connected to the light, but she works like a guardian. That doesn't make any sense. What, like, these are things that you can't just have open-ended questions to.
Like, is she connected to? Are there beings inside the Traveler that make it work?
Yeah,
Are
there's
there
things like that. Or, like, my
are
favorite
there
thing
beings
is...
of Osiris that Osiris is able to control parts of the light, and they don't need the ghosts to be able to do the things that us as guardians are able to do with ghosts? Are they able to self-do it? Is there an implant or what? Why was she able to just magically disappear like she did?
Yeah, or, like, was she part of the Vex system? Like, what are we talking about here? My favorite theory that people have had is that they're hoping that there's going to be guardians that aren't of the light but of the darkness. I personally, I hope for that as well.
See, that'd be cool.
Like,
But then if
you
they
have
were to
two
say that
subclass
she was a
choices.
part of it, but if they were to say that she was a part of it, she helped you take down the darkness. So if they say that she was a part of it, they've
No.
already fucked
I'm not.
themselves.
I'm not
They've
saying
already
that.
shot themselves in the foot.
I'm not saying
I know,
that
I
they're
know.
on the side of the darkness. I'm saying that they, instead, like, we manipulate the light, they manipulate the darkness. That's
Oh,
what,
okay.
like, there's all their subclasses
That would
would
be
use
interesting.
dark power. Yeah, and that's actually something that they had an idea for in concept and stuff like that. To have some guardians use the light, some use the darkness, and that's fucking good. You have to choose. You have to choose that path. That would be a great fucking idea.
All teammates down. Fight another.
The problem probably was that it was way too complex to code it in and have it all run at the same level. Because when Destiny 1 came out, there was not enough storage space to even do remotely anything close to that.
Right,
And
but that's what I'm
now-
saying. Now you can, because it's all on next-gen consoles now.
Well, see, like, people are like, oh, next-gen consoles are so great, the graphics are so much better. The human eye literally cannot tell the difference between one and another if there's the slightest difference. Like, the Xbox One might be a lot more powerful than the Xbox 360.
It's time.
I literally can barely tell the
Enemy
difference.
charge has been set.
Like, the picture looks a little bit crisper, it looks a
Yeah.
little clearer, the contrast
Well, I mean, the
is a
other
little
thing
better.
is like,
but
a lot of
literally
it
that
also
stuff you could
depends
fix on your
upon... A lot of it also depends upon your TV and not just on your Xbox. Your
Right,
Xbox
and, like,
can
the only
only do
good
so
thing-
much.
Well, the only good thing to come out of next gen is that
Enemy left. Excellent.
content creators can now create more content for their game. Like, they're not limited to a certain amount of space anymore. That limit has now expanded.
Right,
And that
like,
is a good thing for next gen.
the
but the fact that,
best
like-
example for that is the Vault in Destiny. It's like, what, double or triple the
Right.
size it was?
Well, in Destiny 1, it doubled or tripled once you switched over to next gen. On this one, it's only 200. You had 100 for your weapons, 100 for your armor, and 100 for your miscellaneous items. You actually lost storage space in Destiny 2.
Yeah, but it also has the whole collections tab, so
Protected.
like any emblems or shaders that you get are stored
Yeah,
there.
but they had that in Destiny 1.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
The
But-
collections is actually probably more space efficient than having to set up different kiosks throughout the tower. It's probably a
Yeah.
lot easier to have it all in one place. But like you can tell Destiny 2 is much larger than Destiny 1 just by the size. I think Destiny 1 was like 25 gigabytes on new gen, and Destiny 2 is 80 something. I'm trying
Yeah,
to think.
it's a lot bigger. Well, no, I don't think it's 80. I think it's 48. Or maybe Destiny 1 was 48 when it was all said and done.
Inch.
Defend the
Okay,
charge.
no, I was wrong. Destiny 2 is 35.7, and Destiny 1. I don't know what I was thinking. That was 80 something. Destiny 1 is. Okay, Destiny 1 was larger, but it also had a lot of stuff.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think it was larger when it was all said and done.
Nope, it was actually 49.5 gigabytes.
Like,
But actually,
Vanilla?
never mind. I don't know. Well, I just tried downloading just Destiny, but as I'm doing that, I think I just realized like we might be trying to download Destiny Vanilla,
Down, the
but
charge is still active.
vanilla like the expansions are just really small, and the expansions are like access codes. So like when you buy the Rise of Iron DLC, that's like an access code that allows you to access, like when they update Destiny, they update all the new data that they want to put into Destiny into the game, and the expansion that you bought is just the access code that tells your game, hey, I'm allowed to access this part of the data of the code. Let me fucking use it.
no, you're absolutely
So-
right.
So I guess yeah, when it's all said and done, it was about 49.5 gigabytes.
Yeah, and Destiny 2 is starting off at 35. But see, Destiny 2 could be like a 60 gigabyte game, but it's not.
Could be, but I don't know if
because
it, yeah.
it's not because the worlds are huge and expansive and all that shit, but there's fucking nothing in them.
You set the charge.
Right, like the best example for that is IO.
You now.
Like
I know, right?
literally,
IO
they're just
has
huge open
nothing.
spaces. Like Nessus at least has like different caverns and caves and stuff. Titan has different like buildings and whatnot to venture through, and Earth it might be huge, but like literally there are different sections with different people controlling them. In IO, it's just a huge fucking clusterfuck of Taken, Vex, and Cabal.
Charge.
Yeah.
Like they're just everywhere. They're all spread out. Like someone just took a handful of all of them, just threw them down there. Like that looks good.
Defend the
Yeah,
charge.
and speaking of like the whole sections kind of deal with them, it really ticks me off with the different maps how it's like, here's a section and there's tons of enemies in this section, and like there's stuff to do in this section, and then like the hallways and stuff, I call them hallways, like then the roads
Like the
between
dungeons and shit.
no, in the dungeons, yeah, but like in the roads between the sections, there's nothing there.
Meaning of war.
Another thing that pisses me off about that though is like there are the patrols where literally you have like if you pick a patrol up complete opposite end of the thing in a cave, like on the moon, like you could have just been underground or above ground. Granted, that was what the moon was supposed to be,
Yeah,
but like you could just go anywhere you wanted and done the thing. Like, sure, there was like the surveying and like the high value target, but like it's the same thing on this game.
Yeah,
Which
it really ticks me off how they're like, oh yeah, no, you just don't get to go anywhere. Like, you go exactly where this thing is from, and then that's it. You know, like why do it that way is the question. You
because
know,
it's probably easier on the game. Well, no, actually, no.
it's probably not, because they probably have to code in. I don't.
But I know for a fact that they have to code in that they probably have to block it, but they also might also have to code in the fact that, hey, when they pick up this patrol mission, well, no, actually, yeah, they do probably have to block it. Because if I were writing it, I would say, like, you know, patrol mission picked up. Here are the satisfications for the patrol mission, and keep the patrol mission going until they satisfy each one of the standards for that patrol mission. And once those are done, close the patrol and give them the reward. In
Right.
the Destiny 2, you do the same thing, but inside of the loop that they have, where like while they're continuously doing this, at the bottom they'd be like, well, actually probably closer to the top of before they run through it is, find area players in. If it doesn't match the area where the patrol was picked up, which means you have to take the variable where the patrol mission was picked up. If the player location doesn't match patrol pickup location, don't even bother with the rest of the stuff.
Right.
So, I don't
It's
know
like,
what they were
I
thinking
just
at all.
I don't like so many of the things here. It's like, why? Like that's the question I want answered for me, is just why do it that way? You know?
Enemy sealed your defeat with that detonation.
Really irritating.
It does, because like you and I have said now, they have so much potential for this game. And
They've had so
they-
much potential since day one.
Yeah, well, but
Here's
like
the-
like you and I have said though, we both understand why the original Destiny was not as good as promised, you know, because Activision came in and
yeah.
fucked it all up. But with the deal, and I understand why, like with the DLCs and stuff like that, it was hard, you know. But this one doesn't make sense to me, because this one they even said they were going with a clean slate. Well, it's like what I said to Joe. I wish they would, if they want this to be a game for plebeians like fucking Call of Duty, then make it a game for plebeians and stop with the fucking bullshit of, oh, you know, we're going to give hints of this grand design that we have behind it, have in here, and like an actual story that's back there and all that kind of stuff. We're going to hint at that kind of stuff, but we're not actually going to give it to you, because, you know, why would we do that? Like, I wish they would they either do that or just straight up go for it. Say, we're making this game for the people who stuck around. You know, we're making this game for the hardcore players who want the grind, who want the hard content so that they can do it. You know? Like make it fucking like Dark Souls. You know? Not to that extent, obviously, because
That would be terrible. I probably wouldn't buy the game.
Like, but Dark Souls never tried to play to the plebeians. They played to the people who played the game. You know, like, and Destiny needs
They
to.
didn't give people an easy way out either.
Yeah. That's what I feel Destiny needs to do, is they need to just say, buckle down and say, you know, we're going to not have as many people buy the game outright, but we're going to make more money in the long term because we're going to have a dedicated fan base, a dedicated player base, you know. And it's what Halo was. Halo had a dedicated player base because they didn't compromise when Bungie was in there. They had a story to tell, and they had a multiplayer that they wanted to do, and they wouldn't compromise for anybody, you know? And that's what I'm saying is, like, why do it this way? Why play to the plebeian crowd when this is not a plebeian game, you know?
Right.
It just it upsets me a lot.
What ticks me off is the fact that a lot of shit about that game just ticks me off.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's lots of things that I can criticize. Like, exotics are a whole thing for me. You know, the fact that no exotic in this game feels exotic. You know, they may look exotic, but they don't feel exotic. You know,
Well,
like,
going off of that is like back then, the Meta multi-tool was hard to get, and it was a good weapon. Still a good weapon, but it was hard to get. Now they give it to you, literally give it to you.
I can kind of understand that decision because it is a returning gun and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's the only way I can justify it in my head.
They give you two brand new exotics. They just give them to you. Like you have
three.
to do the
They
mission.
give you three.
What was the third one?
You get Sturm, Mida Multi-Tool, and Rat
Right.
King.
Well, I said two brand new exotics.
Oh yeah, okay, you're right.
Like those two are brand new. Just fucking gave them to you.
Yeah, and like the Rat King's quest was only hard in the sense that you had to get somebody else to do it with you. You know,
Right.
As a quest itself, though, it was not hard.
The only other hard part to that quest was, well, I guess it's also luck based, was when you did the 5 minutes remaining on the nightfall.
Yeah,
The
because you had to
second week
have, there were certain
of Nightfall
nightfalls that it
was
just would be fucking
so
impossible.
easy.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly, if there was a time to have done it, it was that week.
Right, and the other thing that they get, like, going off of the, like, with the exotics and stuff like that, is there, again, it's the same thing of them just not listening to their community. Is there have been thousands of suggestions for exotics, and some of them are fucking stupid and all that kind of stuff, but you know, there are a ton of diamonds in the rough there that you don't, like, if your writing team is running out of ideas, they're everywhere. You know, inside this community that built itself basically because Bungie sure as fuck isn't doing it. You know, they just ignore it for the most part. And that's something that hurts too, because we care. Like, the people who stuck around, you know, we genuinely care about the game. You know, because we were there for when it was supposed to be something completely different, and then we stuck around for when it showed up and it wasn't what we had been led to believe it would be, you know, in the hopes that it would become something good. And they just won't listen to us, you know, and that it's more of the disrespect kind of thing, you know. And like, I understand them wanting to balance things, but the whole idea of them wanting to make exotics kind of like something you just use in certain situations or something like that. That shit pisses me off. Like honest to God, makes me angry. Because exotics
pisses
aren't
me
meant
off
to be like
was-
that.
Well, exactly. Like, with the Rat Slayer, perfect opportunity to make that into, like, a raid-worthy weapon. The entire
It
raid,
sucks.
you're never near each other.
Yeah. But not even that. It's that, like, it would be better, the whole exotic perk would be better if, instead of you having to be next to each other, like, just if people in your fire team are using it, the perk activates, you know?
Right.
Like, why was it not that? The ACDCO gauntlets for the Titan. Like, have you seen what its explosive melee counter is? It's literally
I have no-
20 HP damage. That's it. And it only stacks 3 times. So, like, it's ridiculous. You know? It's absolute insanity, and it's so bad. You know, it's one of the exotics that ends up getting ridiculed because it's so stupid. You know? And like they're like Darcy. And I get it, not every exotic's gonna be a winner. Because that would be really hard to do and would kind of take away the allure of the exotic. But what it was something I said to Whitney the other day. Is that in Destiny 1, even the exotics that sucked, that was part of the charm about them though. Because they sucked, but they were still exotic. You know? And you still had to grind to get those sucky fucking things. Do you remember Necrochasm? How Necrochasm fucking blew? But you still grind, the exotic quest to get that. Or like super good advice and stuff like that. How you to do the exotic bounties for that.
I'll tell you one thing that was worthy enough for all the work you did for it. The fucking black spindle.
Oh my god, yeah. Now, it wasn't
That
as good
thing-
as the thing that brought it, the legendary version that preceded
no.
it, but which was
No,
Black
it was-
Hammer, right?
Yes. Yes. That thing was amazing. The fact that it was a legendary completely changed the game for raiding.
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
now that you can just go fuck yourself, because, you know.
And again, it's another thing of like, just why make that? Who made that executive decision right there? You know, to like just make shit not matter, and to make the exotics not so exotic. And like one of the guys, like I said, their idea was, we're going to have exotics be like a very specific situation kind of thing, but not game breaking. And I'm like, exotics are meant to be that. They're meant to be hard to get, and they're meant to be game breaking because they're hard to get. You know, they're the reward for grinding your ass off. You know,
Right.
and that's like, I personally believe that half of all exotics you can get in the game should not come from random loot rolls, but quests. And make them hard as shit. Something that you gotta like really go for and grind, like the one shotgun that was made by the same people who made The Last Word. You know, how you had to get like 150 kills in the Crucible with The Last Word. That's hard. You know, and that was just step fucking 1 of that quest.
Right.
That's hard. You know, fucking Sleeper Simulant's quest was hard. You
That was
know,
hard as shit.
Thorn's quest. Do you remember Thorn's quest? That thing was stupid hard.
One
You
quest that
know?
was hard for me was I think it was like the first word or something like that.
Which one was that?
You had
Skolas tried to unite the fallen houses,
have
but
to-
failed. Who would have thought that sheer desperation would
Uh,
succeed when he failed?
I can't remember what you had to do. I think it was like you had to get like cannon kills without dying in the Crucible.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember which one you're talking. The first word wasn't its name, but I know what you're talking
The first
about.
curse, I think.
Yes, that was what it was. It was the precursor. It was supposed to be like the precursor to Thorn.
Yeah. No. The first curse was supposed to be the precursor to the last word.
Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you're right. You're right. But like, yeah, things like that. Like even the exotics that sucked, like super good advice in the exotic bounties. Why aren't exotic bounties still a thing? Is another thing I would ask. Like,
Well,
those
they
were
technically
good
are.
ideas.
It's in the form of the quests now.
Yeah, I know, but
The
that's
bounties
not the
were
same.
quests.
But it's not the
They're
same.
exactly
because
the
you
same.
No, because in the bounties you had to
Okay.
like grind bounties out until the chance to get them dropped for you. It was all part of the RNG grind. You know?
Right. I
And-
can understand that, yeah.
Like, instead of it just being like, hey, he reached level 20, here they are. You can go get them now if you want, or you can wait. But if you wait, they drop at a much higher level. It's like, no. Exotics shouldn't be something you hand out like fucking candy on Halloween. Exotics are supposed to be things that you earn. You know? And they can say,
Yeah,
oh, well, you did
I
earn it because you
agree.
did the quest. And it's like, but the quest was easy, and it's just there.
Guardian the
You know?
bringing in their armory again. You
Like
think they know better by now.
exotic bounties were a reason to dedicate yourself to trying to get that bounty.
Yeah, it was a reason to do the bounty system besides just getting rep and stuff like that. And here's the thing, this is something Jake and I were talking about. Both of us desperately want for them to bring back progression on your weapons.
Those caches.
You know, like you have to like unlock the perks on them and all that kind of stuff. We want that
I know what
because
you're talking
A,
about, but I could care less.
it's just another thing like for grinding. But here's the thing, we all remember with those you had to upgrade them using materials and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Well, they already have all the fucking materials in the worlds already. They wouldn't have to add jack shit. And the materials in the world are worth just over nothing in Destiny
Right,
2.
but the materials in the world are now supposed to be for trading to the people that are vendors.
Right. Yet the materials, the things that are rarer than tokens, are worth less than tokens. So how about
That's
instead
true.
you just give them to us to collect so that we can use them to upgrade our weapons and armor and shit like that. And random rolls need to make a return. Because there's no
Oh,
point
no.
in having more than one of a gun now. You know? And if you're like, oh, but that'll make shit unfair in the Crucible, just turn off perks in the Crucible. There you go. You done it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This isn't some fucking rocket science bullshit. Like, if you just turn off the perks in the Crucible, guess what? Everybody's on a fucking level playing field then. You've achieved your goal, Bungie. And realistically, like, then in PvE, you're grinding for a gun that only is useful in PvE. And what's wrong with that? If you get a god tier weapon to use in PvE, why are you mad at that, Bungie? That means they worked their fucking ass off to get that shit. You know?
Right.
You know, or they got lucky. You know, instead
This
of you
or
just
that.
you know, instead of you just handing that to them to start out with.
2 waters.
Right.
How do you like that, Fallen?
Like, why? Just why is what I want to know.
An
Ooh, the
extremely
legs.
successful sortie, as I've come
Because
to
they're
expect
pieces
you.
of cuck.
Well done. Again.
You know, and like I only criticize this kind of stuff because I genuinely want to see the game improve and get better. You know.
I would
And
agree with you if they hadn't dicked me over so many times.
but that's why, I mean, at this point, that's a lot of the reason why I want to see it, because I've invested so much into it. You know, I have to believe that it can get better at this point because I've invested so much money into the game. You know, and time. Jesus Christ, if we were measuring time as the same like thing as money, then fuck. I've spent a lot of money in this game at that point then.
Yeah, don't let my mom know how much money I spent on that game.
Like, it's just another thing of like, so like, not even on exotic guns though. Talking specifically about, not even exotic armor, just armor in general in this game. Why make them all have the same perks? There was no armor in fucking Destiny 1 that was game changing if you had that armor on. You know, in the Crucible. Like,
Right.
can you think of a single armor piece that you were like, oh shit, that guy has that armor piece on, I'm fucked? No, you can't.
The chest of Arminium was a good one, but if you were, well, I mean, you have to be a Titan for it. But if you were running, I think it was still, I can't remember which. There was a subclass where you got 2 grenades anyway, because there was one for each class.
That was a warlock class that got 2.
I thought there was one for Titans too, but
No, that was only if you had the armamentarium, which was my favorite, one of my favorite exotics.
I like the Rune Wings.
Oh, Rune Wings were fantastic as well, but none of those were things that if you came up against them in the Crucible, you went, oh no, they're wearing that. You know?
Right.
So random
I agree.
rolls on not just exotic armor, but armor in general are something that, why not have them? All they do is improve gameplay experience and stuff like that, and give you something more to grind for. Or, in other words, keep players coming back. The
Well,
thing
I
that will
don't
actually
really-
make you money.
I don't really like the whole thing because then like, oh, the one guy has the best perks on the gun because the game says so. Even though his and my stats are exactly the fucking same.
Well, that's what I think the stats on things should change if you, with your different perk sets, you know?
Well, like, so example, rangefinder. Did you get the Matador with rangefinder? Yeah. Oh, dude, you're fucking set, man. Why? It didn't improve my range at all. Well, you have to aim down the sights, and then it's like a slug shotgun, but you're shooting spread.
Yeah.
It was fucking dirty because it doesn't legitimately increase your range unless you're in the game using it.
Yeah, and that's not okay. You know? I definitely agree with you that it should show what it's doing while it's doing it, you know?
Well, fucking rangefinder is like stupid strong perk to begin with.
Yeah, but I'm okay with having stupid strong perks. You know, make them drop at a lower rate than other ones. Make them the things to grind for. That's just getting, you know, that's the luck of the draw then, you know? Like fucking luck in, one in the chamber. Do you remember that? Or what was it? Was it Lucky Shot or one in the chamber? What was it called?
It was Lucky Shot.
Lucky Shot?
The one where like one bullet.
One bullet would do like 30 times more damage or something like that. Something stupid. Or it was 3, but you know. Yeah.
Well, I
like
gotcha.
Yeah, things like that. Like those to me, like Lucky Shot to me, everybody was always like, "Oh, that's fucking ridiculous" and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I never got mad on that because there's no guarantee you get that shot. You know?
Yeah, I could kill you before you even got that shot off.
Right. You know, that's something to me that's like, meh, alright. That's a good perk. You know, having explosive rounds, that's something that I also don't mind. One thing that I wish would be, and it's so pervasive in Destiny 2, and it wasn't in original Destiny, was high caliber rounds. You know, the things that make you stagger and stuff like that. Yeah, they have it. That's what I'm saying but so many guns have it now. You know, and it's intrinsic, so that means anybody who has that gun has high caliber rounds. Whereas in Destiny 1, it was actually not a very common perk to get. And I know that because I savored them. And here's what they also could do. They could make it that all guns are the same, but they could have 2 different modification slots and have the perks that you want be mods that you have to grind for. That would be okay with me too. You know, and then you can literally build your own best version of your gun. You know, and you can swap out things so that it would be its best version of itself at that time. You know, I think that'd be a great idea. You know, like one of the things would be the damage type. Also, why can you not make weapons that are kinetic in a kinetic slot or an energy slot kinetic for an energy weapon?
See, that's something I agree that should be possible.
Like, what's your point, Bungie, in stopping me from making my Might multi-tool Fire Solar? You know?
It's gonna be super powerful.
It's already the most used scout rifle in the game. Like, tell me how it's going to make things worse.
Right.
You know, or like, why can't I make one of my submachine guns kinetic? You know, like my Might mini tool rather, excuse me. Why can't I make that kinetic? Like, why? Just tell me. You know? And that, or hell, why can't I make some of my power weapons just do kinetic damage? Because kinetic damage doesn't do a lot to shields, but it does more damage person. The grenade won't do any damage. It does damage, and it just like you just show up and you fuck that person up. You know?
Right.
Like give us that kind of, and then have another slot where you get to add 1 perk. That's it. Like, you get to add 1 thing for the damage type, and then 1 perk. And there you go. So then the modifications aren't just, hey, I need to put this legendary modification, which doesn't matter which one it is, on here so that I can make this thing 305. You know? Like, it's just another thing of the modifications themselves just don't matter. You know?
Right.
When they were supposed to be things that did matter, and they were, and I was excited for them. I thought, man, this looks like an actually really cool idea, you know. And then it turns out that A, all the modifications suck, and B, you know, all they're really good for is just making making your shit 5 light level, 5 light higher, and light still doesn't matter all that much.
What?
You know, and then light's a whole nother thing.
Like, they kept that, which is understandable. But what I didn't like was, they didn't tell you that you could move. Like, when you look at your weapon, it has the perks, and somewhat, like, most of the weapons don't have that, like, slot to like modify. Like, it's literally those perks and that's that.
Right.
You know, so when it comes to weapons that you can modify, they don't tell you. Definitely something that they should be mentioning, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just another thing of like, why, you know?
Right.
And again, with Bungie being the way that they are, you know, only Bungie could hear people say, hey, can you fix some gameplay mechanics? And say, oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get rid of random rolls on weapons and armor and stuff like that. Like, nobody asked them to do that. You know? And it's just, it tires me out and makes me sad that a game that I really do enjoy and has so much potential just throws it fucking down the drain. You know, with just being idiots. And that's the honest, nicest way I can say it. You know, like, the light level still doesn't matter 3 years later.
Well,
You know?
it matters, but only in PvE.
No, but yeah, like they had in Destiny 1, like, Iron Banner and Trials of the Nine. Your light level fucking mattered or Trials of Osiris back then. But your light level mattered. And I get it, you don't want the plebeians who are going in there to, like, get wrecked by people, but that gave them more incentive to go out into PvE and, like, grind, you know?
Right.
Because they didn't want to get wrecked the next time Iron Banner came around so they could get the Iron Banner loots. Like, what this all did was just force them to play more of your content and stuff. And I so don't understand why they're so against the not even hardcore players. Like, just against the players that, like, play and stuck around and stuff like that and gave them the feedback and the criticism. You know, like, I don't understand
like how
why.
it made him feel.
Yeah, I don't know. It upsets me a lot that,
Like, I used to work with a girl in... No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, keep going.
No,
Guardian, the Fallen are bringing in their armory again.
I actually didn't have a
They know
point.
better
I was
by
just
now.
done.
Oh. Well, what I can tell what they're doing is they're too worried about, you know, oh, someone's not gonna like it because it's unfair for them to start off at level 1, and this person's already, at this max light level. Why is it that they get an advantage? Well, they spent more time playing the game.
Yeah.
They were here when we first started. They should be rewarded for such. You should have to put in as much effort as they did.
Them a new lesson.
Absolutely.
There's none of that.
No, there isn't, and it's sad. The whole thing you said with like players should be rewarded for having been here since the beginning. I 100% agree with that.
Well, I mean, it's common sense.
Yeah, like why wouldn't we get rewarded for sticking around? Especially after the shit show Destiny 1 was.
Oh, yeah. Like, example, I'm not 100% sure because I'm not really a big fan of football, but I think, like, returning season pass holders, like, they're not amazing, but, like, they're commemorative stuff for, like, to add to collections and stuff, like...
They do. That's a thing, yeah.
And so, it's been 3 years, Destiny, and is my commemorative memorabilia
where's my fucking
that you've taken on my chest?
mug? We didn't even get, we got an emblem. That was what we got.
You know what's even more fucked? Is that, the, like, books that you can complete? I've never completed one except for the second one. I've never had time to except for the second book. I completed it, and you know what it gave me? A code to put in at Destiny.com to purchase a shirt that says I completed the book.
Yeah.
So my reward was being able to buy more stuff from them. What a reward.
And yeah, it was... I never got that far, so I didn't know that was the reward, but it's just like... It's
just like,
just,
why
again,
is that my reward?
No, it brings it back to the same question we've come to throughout this entire thing, is just why? And how we started this by saying that the whole thing just feels fucking disrespectful as shit to the people who stuck through it.
An extremely successful sortie, as I've come to expect.
And I don't get what we did to deserve it.
I don't know.
I'm just wandering around Titan right now, trying to do milestones on my second character. I told Joe that my goal now is to just get all of the planet-specific armor sets. Because that's all I have to grind for now. Because we don't do the raid enough for me to grind for everything in there. And honestly, I wouldn't want to do the raid enough for that.
Well, like before, you would want to do the raid that much because the raid's enjoyable, but this one it just seems like there's a bunch of boss steps, like kill the war singers. Those were a mini boss to Crota.
Right,
Kill
and this one is just show up.
It's like trials.
Yeah,
like,
and
complete
I
this
don't
trial, complete that trial.
I don't necessarily dislike that.
Well, I don't dislike it either, but like, there's a difference between like the Gauntlet's a good one. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the raid. It's just like the Gauntlet. Run around in a circle a few times, and while your friends running around in a circle, you shoot triangles. Like, it's not hard at all.
No, it's
But like
not.
the
And
War Priest in the Oryx raid.
no,
was a
You want
challenge.
to talk? You want to talk about a hard one? You want to talk about a hard one? You have to talk about the fucking Templar.
Oh, the Templar is definitely a fucking hard one.
The Templar was another level of just awful. And
Trying to get the bonus chest for the Templar was another
I
beast
know.
all on its own. You had to have
then-
Titans for that.
Yeah, and the war priest for the Oryx one was another one that you're just like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
but because of that, because you were like, fuck, this sucks, you know, lots of people end up not doing it, and it becomes like this super badge of honor to have done it. You know, you're like,
Right.
especially if you did it and didn't get carried through it, you know.
Oh, definitely.
You know, if you actually contributed. And you know, and the Oryx raid was actually had a lot of them. Like the War Priest was one, Golgoroth was another. Because you had to jump down into the thing and all that kind of stuff. You had to time shit up properly. You know, but even the Siva one, well, I don't remember what it was, Wrath of the Machine. You know, that one was good too. With the with the one room that had the monitors all over it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And its final boss battle was hard. It just was, because you had to rely on people jumping up on the back of Axis, and that was
It was
so
all random.
buggy. Yeah, and on top of that, you couldn't like say this person goes here, this person goes there, and shit like that. You know, you had to all be prepared to do that, and that's not something that comes up in Destiny 2's thing, you know.
Checking.
Right. I mean, they've got some time to improve on that one.
Yeah, and I really genuinely hope that they don't try and fuck us over on the Osiris thing and say that like, oh yeah, we're not gonna do a raid for this DLC, because if they don't, that's just like that's just a spit in the face. It's just like, why?
Well, if anything, it's probably more deserving of a raid.
What can I do for you, Titan?
It seriously is. They're putting a whole new area. They're giving us a whole new area and all that kind of stuff. For fuck's sake, I need one more exotic, and you give me this piece of shit again. But yeah, so they're giving us a new area. They're giving us a new person, new storyline, hopefully. So I would hope that they give us a raid as well. You know.
Well, never know until it comes.
I know.
But by then
it's
it might be
just-
too late.
Yeah. It just... It ticks me off, you know.
Yeah. I gotcha.
And with that, I'm going to end this stream.